Friends, good morning. Okay, so we are celebrating today another awesome feast day of an incredible female saint. I said her name at the beginning of Mass, St. Teresa of Avila. St. Teresa of Avila. Okay, so St. Teresa of Avila. Last week we had the feast of a French female saint, St. Teresa of Lisieux. So you got Therese, so her name is like Teresa. So Teresa last week, Teresa this week. Anybody know any other St. Teresas? Any other famous St. Teresas? What's one? Go ahead, say it. Do you know? How about, should we phone a friend? Anybody else? Anybody else? Uh-huh. Anybody ever heard of Mother Teresa of Calcutta? Have we heard of her? Yes? Okay, there's a lot of famous St. Teresas. Anyway, my whole point is to say this week we've got an awesome St. Teresa, St. Teresa of Avila. Say Avila. St. Teresa of Avila. St. Teresa of Avila, she was a Carmelite nun, which means that she spent most of her day in prayer. She was someone who spent a lot of time talking with the Lord, reading through the scriptures. She's considered a mystic and a doctor of the church. What does that mean, a doctor of the church? It means that her writings, her reflections, the things that she said, all of that stuff, it's so accurate, it's so deep, it's so important that the church has said, if you want to know about prayer, read Teresa of Avila, right? That's the church's way of saying you can trust what she's saying. I also said she's a mystic. What is a mystic? A mystic is someone who has this deep, deep prayer life. We're all called to be mystics. We're all called to have a deep prayer life. We're all called to be mystics. I want to share this, though, about Teresa. This is something that she wrote in one of her journals about her prayer life. Okay, so she says this. She says, prayer, in my opinion, is nothing else than an intimate sharing between friends. It means taking time frequently to be alone with him who we know loves us. I'm going to read it one more time. Listen. Prayer, in my opinion, is nothing else than an intimate sharing between friends. It means taking time frequently to be alone with him who we know loves us. I love that. Prayer is an intimate sharing between friends. I think, eyes up here, look at me. Okay. I think sometimes we get this in our minds that prayer is like this really difficult work I got to do, or it's really arduous, it's really challenging. Prayer is a relationship with the best friend. And the coolest thing about this relationship is that the God of the universe is the one who's looking at you saying, I'm interested in you. Like, there's been times in my life where I've been in situations where I'm like, man, I really want to be friends with such and such a person. I really want to be friends with that person. They're really interesting, or they're really, I don't know, they're living a very fascinating life, or they're very cool, or I don't know what it is, but there's something about this person, I would love to be friends with them. And then for whatever reason, it doesn't work out. But in this case, the most incredible person, we're talking about Jesus, the most incredible person is already fascinated by you, is already drawn to you. He's already interested in you. Right? If you have a best friend, which I hope a lot of us do, we have close friends, think about how that relationship works. In order to have a best friend, you have to spend time with that person. You have to talk frequently with that person. You have to listen to that person. You have to share with that person. Right? If you don't spend time, if you don't talk, if you don't do things together, if you don't have a shared life, you're not really going to have a best friend. That relationship is going to fizzle. The relationship's going to fizzle. Jesus is the exact same thing. A prayer life is the exact same way, friends. So this is why all throughout this year I'm going to be encouraging us. This is very important that we take some time. Every single day, you have to take a little bit of time to spend time with Jesus. Listen to him talking to you in your heart. Remember how we've been doing that? Asking the Lord questions. Lord, what do you think about me? Lord, do you love me? Remember using our imagination? So spending time with Jesus, listening to him, talking with him, all of those things are so critical. I just want us to get it in our heads that a prayer life is not this very difficult thing. St. Teresa of Avila is telling us prayer is a close sharing between friends. I want us to start thinking about Jesus as this friend who's interested in us, who wants relationship with us, who wants friendship with us. Amen.